Hello, and welcome to Forecourt Technologies engaging customers and driving C-store traffic. I'm your host today, Casey Brandt. Your moderator and one of your speakers today is Jack Dickinson. Jack is currently a strategic account senior manager with Dover Fueling Solutions, supporting various U.S. convenience retail accounts, as well as driving various business development activities for the organization. Jack also serves on various leadership and committee roles for Conexxus and NACS. Conexxus IoT Working Group Chair, Conexxus Board of Advisors, and the NACS Manpower Committee. He has been in the convenience and retail industry for over 29 years as both a supplier and retailer. So for the agenda, I've got a few quick things we're going to go through today. We're going to have some housekeeping, a little bit about Conexxus, the presenters, the presentation, and a little bit of a Q&A. So the replay will be made available on Conexxus365.org. You can send your questions directly through to the GoToWebinar interface. Please feel free to send those in as early as you can. The earlier we get them, the sooner we can answer your question in the Q&A section. They are, PCI credits are available for qualifying live events. So make sure you contact us if you're interested in that. So a little bit of a disclaimer. This is the slide that our lawyers make us put in. The views and opinions in this presentation are solely those of the speakers and not Conexxus itself. So huge thank you to our 2022 Diamond sponsors. The extra support is really appreciated, and it allows us to continue the work that we do on behalf of the industry. I've got a little bit of information about Conexxus before we get started. We are a nonprofit technology organization, and our members really do the heavy lifting. So we provide a neutral forum where retailers and vendors can work and come together to create standards and solutions that are beneficial to our industry. We also educate through white papers and events like this one at Conexxus365. And we advocate on technical level for other organizations to help steer the conversation around standards and policies so that changes don't negatively affect your business. So a little bit about Conexxus365. It's a education webinar series. Coming up next, we have a Connect with Conexxus on July 28th and a VIP session with Ray Huff and Gray Taylor on August 4th. So those are some good ones to look forward to. You can always contact us at our website and email on there. You can also find the previous webinars there as well. And then always you can find us on LinkedIn. Just make sure to look for Conexxus.org. And thank you to Dover Fueling Solutions for sponsoring this webinar. All right, now I'm going to hand it over to Jack Dickinson to announce our other speakers.
Hi, everyone. This is Jack Dickinson with Dover Fueling Solutions. Joining me today in the presentation will be Jen Threlkeld, who is a Senior Product Manager with Dover Fueling Solutions, and Keelye Gaither, who is a Brand Marketing Coordinator for Key Oil Company. They will focus on the real details of today's presentation, but before they do, I'll kick off today's presentation by sharing some industry details relative to media and promotions at the Forecourt. So let's take a look at the opportunities and current obstacles with promotions on the Forecourt. With close to 35,000 transactions per store per month, only 26% of shoppers head inside the store. So as you can see, there's real growth opportunity and potential in this space. The opportunity is more than just incremental sales. There's an opportunity to increase basket size for the 26% of consumers that consistently come into your stores. So how effective can digital media be for these opportunities? Well, according to NACS reports and consumer behavior, shoppers notice promotions, the brands see increases in sales, and some shoppers end up making an unplanned purchase due to digital promotions that they see outside. Digital sounds effective, but can it really circumvent the obstacles around Forecourt promotions, which I have listed here that we'll talk about in a second. Let's talk about some of these obstacles. Without having control of the content, sometimes real retailers are often at the mercy of those cooler door ads or generalized advertising. Print promotions take time to arrive for displaying. They are susceptible to tampering. They can become quickly dated, and they also can tax your store labor when they need to be replaced. And with limited real estate for ads, promoting multiple items can really just be a challenge. Too much print ad posting can go against brand standards and can conflict with a simple, clean appearance that you're really striving for. They also don't support day part needs. It's easy to see forecourt promotions have lacked creativity and flexibility, but customers always have been a captive audience with a ton of opportunity outside. So what are customers expecting when they shop? Let's take a look at that. Research has shown that 31% of consumers wish their shopping experience was even more personalized than it currently is today. This is reinforced by our industry, reinforcing our industry by watching how loyalty app engagement has skyrocketed over the last 3 years. Our consumers are willing to share more data to receive a more tailored experience. They also expect to be rewarded for it. So retaining customers can, as we've highlighted here, can really be an area to target into. As I show in that blue box, increasing customer retention by a mere 5% can really show increased profits anywhere from 25 to 95%, depending on margins. So how can we capitalize on that? Well, right now, the industry believes and retailers have focused on now as the time to leverage technology to connect and communicate with consumers. Across the last couple of years, almost 95% of fuel customers notice a promotion at the pump, which is pretty key. The forecourt display is prime real estate, a captive audience, and an audience that, as we've mentioned, open to being targeted with ads. So with leveraging technology in mind, I'll now hand things over to Keelye and Jen, who will highlight strategies, solutions, and success stories demonstrating how they are appealing to new and existing customers and driving them inside your stores. Keelye, take it away.
Hi guys, thanks Jack. I'm super excited to be a part of this webinar and share our experience as Key Oil with using these Anthem dispensers and DX Promote platform. I'm going to go ahead and dive into who we are as a company and just how we got here first. So Key Oil is a family-owned company that has served the Southeast region since 1965, which is when we initially purchased our Key Stop Travel Center. We've grown a little bit since then, and that was 57 years ago. Key Oil now proudly serves the region as a fuel marketer, fuel equipment distributor, and fuel retailer. Getting over to our coverage, with a presence as a fuel marketer in Tennessee, Kentucky, and Southern Indiana, you can see that we cover a significant amount of territory. We are active throughout the Southeast with a majority of our stores located on heavily traveled corridors, whether that is a highway or an interstate. We're able to keep a great pulse on the market in this way. The diverse consumer markets for specific areas, whether they are rural or urban, yield diverse consumer needs. It's crucial to tap into our knowledge as a jobber and as a retailer to set our dealers up for success. We pay a lot of attention to this kind of stuff. Something that I find really fascinating, if you want to jump right back over really quick, Jack. In this map, you'll see we have a lot of spread out stores, some in rural areas, and something that I find really fascinating is just the lasting impacts of the pandemic on consumer behavior in C-stores. In a recent study, we found that 37% of urban consumers visited more often than they did in 2019, versus the 64% of rural consumers who visited about the same as they did in 2019. I think this just says a lot about how our C-stores were the essential business at the time and how we were able to really foster new consumer loyalty and retention in this moment. And if we go on to the next slide, you'll see these are two examples of our owned and operated sites. With a passion for serving our communities, we take a lot of pride in our fueling stations. On the left, you're going to see our travel center, which is our branded marathon located off of I-65. It serves as a midway point from Louisville to Nashville. And then on the right, you're going to see one of our Key Oil bulk plants that serves both local community and our supply dealers. We're able to really quickly serve our customers and dealers by building this dependable network throughout the region. So now that you know a little bit about who we are and what we do and where we do business, let's dig into the topic for today's webinar, all about using these screens to drive more business and motivate consumers to come inside the store. We're at an exciting time with these kinds of tools to hit the market, and while there are a few ways you can go about this, we chose to use the UX platform and the anthems at our stores because we truly love and enjoy engaging with our customers on a more personalized level. I wanted to take total control over our advertisements and promotions, so it really just worked for us. So I'm going to go ahead and dig into our strategy there and some examples of what we have done to stay competitive. So to get started, I'm going to explain how I use these Anthem dispensers. To be honest, I personally try to take advantage of every feature on these dispensers. I'll use the top portion of the screen to promote digital media that plays either during idle or while the customer is fueling. This is a great real estate area for food promotion programs, breakfast menus, lunch menus, and loyalty program call to actions. The bottom portion of the dispenser is where I like to place item-specific highlights and promotional sales that we are running inside the store. Running and supplying these advertisements to our Forecourt customers and giving them that highlight reel of what we have inside the store to offer is just something that I personally believe that other dispensers cannot compete with. Outside of the digital ad space on these dispensers, the surface area of this dispenser is incredibly easy to keep clean, making it a little bit easier to keep our sites cleaner. There's less nooks and crannies for the dirt to get on there, not to mention that these 27-inch touchscreens make people really excited. These are a couple examples of advertisements that I've made myself. I've seen promotions on the pump since I've started driving, from pump toppers to pole signs, most of us have. But some of those can be pretty generic or something that I couldn't even sell in my stores. Or I've seen a commercial for a baseball game that isn't going to bring me into the store to buy a coffee or a donut. The strength of the anthems and the software is that I'm in total control of what's playing on my dispensers. So for these advertisements that I'm showing you right now, we run these in the mornings and we try to target our consumers who are heading into work and just trying to get them to come and try our coffee or our donuts. I also like to focus on our energy drinks in the later afternoon as we're essentially located to a few industrial parks. So being able to serve those consumers is really important too. Now, if we go on to the next slide, you're going to see here are the segments. You can break this up as much as you'd like to. I personally enjoy breaking it up by fueling and idle. We do this because at our sites, we have fuel attendants who are working under the forecourt all day, helping our customers and assisting them with fueling. So you can imagine how monotonous this could become. This also allows for our content to be fresh and more engaging and people to not be as bored with it. So say you wanted to run an advertisement just on Mondays for an item specific, such as like a breakfast menu or a lunch menu that's specially for one day. You can set that up to do specific days of the week. You can make this as specific as you'd like. So here are a couple examples of my media advertisements. The first one. Perfect.
I bet Jack is like on his way right now to go get bacon. I know him well enough.
Yeah. So as you can see, those two ads, they have a lot of factors playing into it. Something that I really think is important on these, it's going to be the clear and vibrant format of it. It's the call to actions at the end, but also the media that plays. So the music. We really wanted to launch this new product, and on that first one on the left, it is just a product we wanted to let everyone know that we had in our store. So we put that on there, and we've been able to really successfully launch that program. The one on the right was our breakfast menu. We've really been able to improve our breakfast sales, and I'm really excited. I'm going to show you guys a little bit later just how much that's influenced our breakfast sales. So I know it may seem a little intimidating to try and make your own ads, and you might be thinking, I don't have the time, I don't think I know how to do it, or I'm just not creative enough to do it. I totally get it. I've been there, and I wear a lot of hats working in marketing and branding. And I know that time is money, which is why I'm going to share a few tricks that I've used to kind of get started. The first thing that I did was I utilized the generic ads that were provided to me through the DX Promote platform. Essentially, this is a starter pack that will have ads that you can use while you're building up that library of content. I then began to reach out and try to connect with my branded fuel representatives, my food vendors, and local businesses just to try to get some media. I highly encourage outsourcing when it comes to our food programs and vendors because we're already paying for that relationship and that product to be in our store. This media is only going to encourage more brand awareness and inside sales, something we both want to see. When I did take the time to make my own ads, I would just jump onto Canva and play with templates and free stock photos to create specific ads that I couldn't outsource. If we go over to the next slide, you're going to see a couple of examples of those. So on the left are just a few ads that I created for some roller grill items and hot items that I didn't really need to go out and outsource. And on the right, you're going to see a couple of the generic ads that you are provided with this DX platform. So let's get into the grit of this stuff. Let's check out the sales stats that I've been able to track as I've advertised throughout my stores. Well, like I shared earlier, we were wanting to boost our breakfast sales, so I started running the breakfast ad on January 1st. Granted, we had some organic growth in November and December of last year. We've been able to continue to grow and maintain a higher daily average each month since then. If we compare our starting point in August of 2021 of $78.64 and where we are today at $118.41 as of May, there's an increase of about 50.6 in just 9 months for the daily average sales. And of course, we want to look at our overall store growth as well. So here's a bird's eye view of how we have seen growth in our daily sales. Even through the winter storms that we have had in Kentucky and throughout, the uptick of COVID-19 cases and the decreased traffic as a result of more remote workplaces, we were still able to track an increase in daily sales. I'm excited to see the progression of this summer as more people are getting out and traveling more. Looking at our numbers from last August to present, we have seen an increase of 17.8% in our daily sales. So I've shared some visually appealing successes, but here's an example of how I was able to directly track our donut sales by launching, pausing, and resuming a campaign. We have since removed this product from the market, but you can still see the progression as it went by. When I launched this program or this campaign for this product, we promoted heavily. And once I started advertising our breakfast menu in January, I pulled some of the donut ads out, and there was a clear drop in our sales. We noticed that drop in average daily sales and decided to throw some ads back on there. And you can see that we had that 33% growth and then it dipped down 50%. And so we were able to kind of save that a little bit before the end of getting rid of that product. But you can just tell how interactive that this program can be with your inside sales. Something else that I would love to talk about is just the loyalty programs being advertised at the pump. This is something that we really love to focus on outside of our inside sales. So this is just a snapshot of where we're standing for April. These are our current numbers at the VP site, and we've been going for 9 months with these advertisements. As you can see, we still have some room for growth with a little over 36% of our gallons being member gallons. Overall, throughout our network, though, we are still sitting in really healthy numbers. And if you go over to the next slide, you are going to see kind of the timeline, and you can see the ebb and flow of things, but things definitely picking up and showing some traction. All right. The future of the forecourt engagement is bright for Key Oil, and it's a fun one. As an innovator in technology, our main goal is to build an exceptional consumer experience, whether that is through gamification at the pump or ordering at the pump. I had the opportunity to attend the DFS user conference this year where I was able to play with 2 really cool interactive features these Anthem dispensers offer. One on the left you will see is the photo booth option, and it's really cool. It allows you, while you are fueling, to take a picture, and then it will send you the picture over text if you opt in for that. And then if you look on the right, if you're familiar, as I am, with Wordle, you can also play Wordle while you are using the fuel dispenser. And that is just really cool to me. The next thing that we are really excited about, which most of the industry is just the ordering at the pump and being able to bring convenience to our consumers. So there is an application on this dispenser that allows us to really engage with our customers on a more personal level and get them to come in the store by offering them the menu on the pump. This is just something that we are super excited about, and we plan to roll out late this year, possibly early next year. And we're just expecting to see an increase in our consumer behavior and spending just based off of the convenience of this alone. Beyond the pump, our dream for the Anthem dispensers is the spirit pump. If you're not familiar with it, this spirit pump is something that we are very, very prideful of. This is a pump that offers to donate money to local schools and other organizations around in the area. On the left, you're going to see a screenshot of our Twitter page where we successfully were able to shout out the school and share that we raised a little over $1,000 in 2 months that we donated to them. And then on the right, you're going to see 2 of our very own Key Oil spirit pumps. These are for our local schools and then for the Boys and Girls Club. So just being able to really launch that and market that, connect with our customers on a more personal level has been really exciting. And I'm glad that Anthem was able to kind of adapt to that with us.
Keelye, I have said it before and I'll say it again. I think that's just one of the coolest things I've seen any customer do.
It really is.
Yeah, that was awesome. Great presentation, Keelye. Thanks for everything. I think at this point we've provided everything we wanted to show the audience, so I think we're ready for some Q&A. Casey?
All right.
All right, well, I might jump in. I see some questions coming in here from the side. So thank you for being here today, and thank you for submitting some of these questions. Okay, all right, so the first one coming through is for Keelye here. You said you're a retailer, you're a jobber, you're a distributor, pretty dynamic there. Do you see benefits for jobbers with Anthem dispensers? So not just retailers, but about jobber perspective.
Yeah, so as a jobber, we like to, of course, set our dealers up for success. So the first step in that is providing them with equipment that is only going to bring them success. So I think that, you know, as a retailer, we see that we can increase our sales and we can perform better and we can do better. But being able to set our dealers up in that way too is super important. So I think that's a really efficient tool for a jobber.
Perfect, awesome. You're the best. Okay, I feel like you're going to be the most popular person to get questions today, so get ready for this.
Okay.
Do you also play that digital content on screens inside of the store? Is that even possible?
Yeah, so it's a pretty simple process. They're all in like a MP4 or a simple file that can be transferred over into our digital screens. I try to have a really uniform brand that is the same on the dispenser screens, the in-store screens, going as far as to our social media on the customer screens. I feel like if we establish that consistent brand image, it just creates a more loyal relationship. They can recognize you better by your brand and they know who you are.
Oh, awesome, thank you. So you did play some examples of the content for us. You did play a few examples of the ROI data, and then you played some videos of content. But this question now is, how do you choose what products you're going to promote?
Yeah, so when I look at what kind of products I want to promote, I first look at what we're selling the most of, what's new, things that are not performing, and new promotions that are coming into our store. So of course I want to sell things that sell, but I also want to try and sell things that aren't moving. So for example, our donuts, when they weren't selling that much, I wanted to see if I could manipulate those sales, and I successfully did. And then if you think back to the Bill's Lemonade, that was a new product that I wanted to launch, and I was able to successfully launch that on the Anthem and the Forecourt and get that out there. So those are just a couple of things that I look at whenever I think about what I'm going to promote.
Yeah, I think that that's a really good answer and something that I hear pretty frequently from our customers. So they'll lean in any direction, right? So sometimes they pick seasonal products. If you don't mind me jumping in and adding to that thought here, they can pick seasonal products, or sometimes they'll just pick whatever they want to see a lift in, right? Or sometimes they'll do flash sales. So if they'll see oh, we have a surplus of a certain kind of inventory of this product, all right, well, let's really heavily promote that for the next 2 months and just try and work through inventory. So yeah, there are a lot of different strategies for that, but we have certainly learned how well every single store owner knows their site. So that's up to individuals, right? Okay, so how frequently do you find yourself having to create content?
Yeah, so when it comes to creating content, I've built up a pretty good library, but I still focus on once a month getting in there, taking a couple of days to really beef up my content, make sure that nothing's getting stale and everything's pretty fresh to the customer. I don't ever want a customer to get tired of an advertisement or just blind to it because they're used to seeing it. So I try to do it once a month.
Thank you for that. Oh, awesome. I love that somebody brought this up because this is like one of my favorite topics. But those spirit pumps are really cool. Do you actually think they have helped you connect with your community or help you make more money?
Yes. So our spirit pumps are pretty cool. I'm a little partial because I'm alumni with a participating spirit pump. But basically what it does is it really gets the community engaged and it makes the community want to spend money with you because they know that their money is going directly back into the community. So it just brings value to the purchase and the sale. And I can't say enough good things about it. I'm currently running a survey and I'm even asking people in the community, would you be more likely to go to a location if they had a spirit pump versus a location without one? And a lot of people are saying yes. So I think it's going good.
That is a fun survey, actually. That's kind of cool to hear. I love it. Just because I love this particular topic, like I might expand on this one a little bit too. Like I've never seen a spirit pump in person, so I might agree and respond really positively too, clearly. But coincidentally, right after I learned about yours, another customer had submitted some photos from their site and another angle that someone took. So you're focusing on high school and I think the Boys and Girls Club engagement. So another customer is using it to associate with their local food bank. And like that's just so neat to me. And their customers taking an opportunity to wrap their entire dispenser in a way like that is a reminder that there's still value in like a static ad. We can call it a static because the dispensers don't move around too much. So let's not undermine the value of that static ad, but like to see them use their screens and creating QR codes, because they can create QR codes on their own in 60 seconds for free on a website, and then pulling a different QR code up there to donate to different organizations every month or every few months to kind of like rotate and get that engagement going. And the QR codes are what are empowering the customers to donate in that moment. They're seeing this and they're motivated and they're driven outside, and it's pretty neat to see the response and just to hear that you can issue checks to your alma mater. Like I think that that's just the coolest thing. I can't wait for the day that I get to see one of these in person, more or less.
Yeah, I also want to add that even if you're not a new business and you're just an existing business, I think that the Spirit Pump, what it does is it really gives you an opportunity to get connected with your Chamber of Commerce and then also allows you to just build that credibility that you need as a local business, especially if you're a new to industry business and you're starting your own store from scratch. I mean, you are going to want to have some of that in your store, and being able to establish yourself in that way is going to be great.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't even think about getting connected to like your local, business establishments, but that's a great idea there. Yes, I love this one. Okay, thank you. Have you considered selling the ad space on your dispensers? Are you just filling it with your own content, or have you considered working with a local car dealership? What do you think would actually work to make money?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. We have been looking into selling ad space right now. We have not. Our first steps in that, though, like ideas that we've tossed around, is for, of course, we have a C-store and a travel center. So those are two completely different kind of markets that we're working with. So for a C-store, I think that promoting our local businesses pretty heavily would be great because that consumer base, they're local and they're going to be shopping around, and that would give them a sense of connectedness, of course. For our travel center, we have a food chain that works in there and rents space from us. And we've considered working on a deal where their rent includes advertising in the forecourt. And so being able to put their menu, whether it's a breakfast or lunch menu or item specific menu, having them kind of get some of that prime time ad space.
Cool. No, definitely a good idea to work with those around you. But I might expand on that just a tiny bit as well, because I had an opportunity to listen actually at our annual conference recently to an excellent speaker, and he had some great points just about digital media in general, right? And kind of the value of digital screens and the value of out-of-home media overall. So it's blowing up, right? And because society in general, we can pay for our streaming services, we can pay to skip ads, we can fast forward through commercials, we can click away from ads instantly on our phones. So if you kind of consider the screens on your forecourt, like that's valuable now, and it's only getting more and more valuable as we give other people or give all of us the opportunity to skip over ads in everyday life. So like use this space, leverage this opportunity. This dedicated attention span at the pump is like more and more rare, more and more valuable, and that companies are acknowledging that as they're looking to like allocate their ad spend, their digital ad spend. And it's important for retailers to also keep in mind there, like what large companies are well down the path of ideating and starting to leverage. So we're talking right now about technology on the forecourt. Okay, so the market right now, they can use screens that tailor ads based on the zip code, tailoring screens or tailoring the ads based on the weather that's playing outside. So for example, if it happens to start raining in this zip code, the company will know and they'll send like an umbrella promotion, right? And the next tier of that evolution is to consider other features, kind of like using a camera, for example, and using a camera to gauge someone's age, their gender, their sentiment, and trying like, that's the future of this, but tailoring ads immediately based on kind of like some demographic assessment that can happen in real time. So we're talking about touch screens here, how to use technology to drive traffic in. And so if you're thinking as a retailer what you would like to use on the forecourt to drive people in, and if you think it might be a screen, a good idea is to consider like the true power of that screen is if it can react in real time and connect to the cloud and have remote updates and be something that you can leverage from anywhere. So don't just, if you're thinking about getting into screens and technology on the forecourt, remember, like, go for more than just a monitor that you can't interact with. Go for one that connects to the cloud, that lets you do remote updates and push content from anywhere. Or even like an open platform architecture, something that will allow third-party integrations, because it's, when you're considering screens, you need to consider what you want that screen to do for you, and not just now and not today, but maybe in 10 years. And the future and the value of this ad space is going up, and the future of what it can do is only expanding. So those are just some ideas for retailers to keep in mind if you're going to consider investing in this technology. Okay, a few people have entered the same question here. Purchases from the pump. How do you envision this working? And we don't want to hire a full-time employee to run food back and forth.
Yeah, so that's a big one. I think there's a lot of talk out there right now on ordering at the pump, delivery services, bringing more convenience to convenience. And I think that's a great starting point with these pumps too. So like I said, it's a really big starting point for us. We're trying to integrate that into our store and seeing how it would work. Ideally, we would like to make it work for both parties, so customer and us. We would not want to have to hire new people or train some new person to come in specifically doing that. So ideally what we're going to look at doing is creating like a grab and go station. So if you're familiar with DoorDash, they have at Chipotle, they have a station where they go in and pick up the order and then they're out. It'd be something similar to that. We're also trying to integrate a self-checkout POS system for a grab and go. So I think the two would intertwine pretty well, and that's how we're looking at attacking it.
I guess I should go off mute if I'm going to tell you how great of an answer that was and ask you the next one. Okay, valid point, 27-inch screens are pretty new. Do customers find this technology intimidating? Are they confused?
So we are based in Franklin, Kentucky, which is a pretty rural area in Kentucky. We do have some more traditional customers who come in and they are a little bit hesitant to touch the touchscreen because they don't want to mess anything up. We do have fuel attendants who work in the forecourt to fuel up the cars while they're coming in. And what I find really interesting is whenever these customers, they may not be directly touching these dispensers, but they're watching them. And it's only a few times of them coming in and watching how they work, watching these ads, seeing how cool it is, getting to see the features before they start doing it themselves. And I know this because every now and then when it's a pretty day and I want to get out of the office, I will go out there and fuel up some cars and talk to people and ask them about these dispensers. And it's pretty cool to see the reaction to some of these customers who've never seen stuff like this before. And so it's been pretty cool.
Very nice. I think it's pretty cool that you walk outside and you still get engaged with your customers like that. That's a solid engagement. Okay, this next one might be for me. I'll let you add on if you want to, but the comment is the screens are beautiful, but how durable are they? Do they break easily? I would say that might be one of the first questions we hear on a very regular basis, right? It's a valid question. If you're thinking about technology and you're thinking about investing, whether it's a phone in your hand, like you want that to last, right? So good point, good question. And the Anthem screens specifically, I can only talk to those. I couldn't speak to the durability of other screens here, so I'll keep this one very specific to this specific product, right? But ours, like, they're designed for aggressive use. Like, it's a wear and tear gas station environment, and we had to keep that in mind during the design process. And if you're thinking about working with a company for screens on your forecourt, like, make sure those partners have gone through, like, tested these in labs, validated that they can tolerate nozzle strikes. I mean, we've done that, and in a war between a screen and a nozzle, it actually broke the nozzle. So, like, we are pretty confident in the product we're taking to market, because it's also such a safety issue. Imagine if somebody actually did break that screen in a situation of glass shards. That's absolutely not permissible, right? So they're actually very tough, very durable. Of course, anything can be broken if somebody's going to run it over with their car, but the entire dispenser is going to break at that point. A consideration I would encourage for retailers, like ask anyone you're working with or anyone that you're thinking about, is have they considered that if someone did break that screen, would it still function? So think about your phone that you have in your hand. Even, unfortunately, if maybe you don't have a case on your phone and you drop it and there are some big cracks there, the phone still works. So even if there's a spider web crack in it, if you want to functionally use it, it still works. And that can be the same with these screens, but I gotta tell you, if I've seen some people strike this thing pretty hard, and they're durable. They are pretty durable. But definitely ask any vendor that you're considering to, like, validation, proof points. Stay aligned with your companies to make sure that they know what environment they're entering here. Okay. Does the screen freeze up? Does it struggle to load sometimes? I'm curious, as I see my computer and phone freeze on occasion. Good point. I hope as computers and phones are continuing to get better and technology is improving, we're working away from freezing in every aspect of our life. But that is success that you see by using brand new technology, right? Brand new technology is going to have the better boards. It's going to have more power. It's going to be a faster processing ability, right? It's just a matter of new technology. Look to work with proven hosts in that capacity. So, for example, like DFS has partnered with Microsoft, and Microsoft Azure is like the power behind this platform, and that's a field-proven method here. So it's not freezing; it's overperforming if anything else. And then just perform due diligence, asking your partners who's hosting that, like where does your software, firmware, hardware come from, and if they can step up to the plate and show you like a quality back end to that product, then I don't think you need to worry about it, like a screen freezing or struggling to load sometimes. But don't cut corners when it comes to the customer experience there, because it's a great point. That would be very frustrating for somebody if they're just trying to fill their car up and all of a sudden it blanks out. But no, we haven't seen that in the field. And if anything, because all these boards are super high power, if we do like a remote upgrade or a remote software push, then it actually functions much faster at that time. Power cycling can function faster than your average dispenser. So there is a great opportunity to leverage the technology within the pump that's never been there before. Okay, good question though. Was it difficult, this is for Keelye, to get your technology team to embrace and implement this application at the pump? For instance, having the bandwidth.
So I can confidently say that we're fortunate enough to be a distributor. So our maintenance company is also a distributor of this product. And so we're pretty familiar with how it runs and operates. So we can understand the brains of it all. We were able to effectively and efficiently completely transition our truck stop over into the Anthem dispensers back in the beginning of June. And we went down and went dark at, I want to say, midnight, and then we were able to get it all up and installed and completely put together right in time for the offices to open, for us to get everything set up with the service desk, and we had no problems. We were live that business day, so it was pretty easy, I would say.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, I hope you can answer all the questions. This is just going great. Thank you. This one, another one. Are there concerns about encouraging cell phone use at the pumps? So I might jump on this one. I don't know the 100% of this answer, but I do know that myth has been busted, that we're not supposed to use cell phones outside of the pump anymore. I don't know what year it was, but I even think it might have been on that fun show Mythbusters, where they did run through all of that testing. But yeah, it's a valid question, because sometimes if we have QR codes, we're asking people to scan QR codes, we're asking them to pull their phones out. And we feel confident in doing that because of it has been officially announced by regulatory bodies, I believe. And maybe I can find that before this ends and I can put the link in the chat here. But yeah, this mobile devices on the forecourt aren't as much of a concern as they used to be. Okay. What if I never want to create content, but I do want anthems? You seem to know what you're doing, but do you have other options? Keelye, you can take it, or I can take it.
There's a question asking if I want to make my own content or not. You cut out on me.
Yeah, it's kind of what if I never want to create content. So maybe I can jump on this one. So Keelye is very experienced in, of course, creating her own. So maybe it's best for me to answer this because I speak to a lot of people that don't. Keelye brought up some good ideas in the past where she's not the only one that's done this. If you don't want to create content, we have customers that for these screens, you can ask your vendors for digital content. Whether it's sales reps that are coming out and they want to promote their products, they see the value in that ad space. So even just asking them for digital files, reaching out to your retail chain, if you happen to be part of a chain, reaching out to an MOC brand rep. We have seen massive success in reaching out to some MOCs. They'll do it on their own and put the QR code, the loyalty rewards app on the screen, get some great downloads, and it really ranges so wide. I also have customers I've spoken to that they have younger cousins managing content, like managing media from their college dorm. So it just depends on your skill set and who you know in your community. And they're also there's a customer that their neighbor teaches like a digital media class at high school. And so that neighbor's class just generates content. So you might have somebody in your network, but then because digital media is such a massive opportunity right now, I can tell you there are hands-off options all over the place right now. And a good partner that is trying to bring technology to Forecourt, a good partner will give you a list of resources for that. And you can look through that list and decide which one would be right for your store, because it's not everybody wants to create content, but there are companies that will do that for you. And they'll offer all sorts of tiers. You can outsource and say hey, I'll get X dollars per month and I can run this kind of promotion, or X dollars per month and I can run all these kinds. So they can really tailor for you. So the power isn't having control over the content out there, but you can still maintain control if you're outsourcing, just you're not the one having to physically create those ads. But yeah, no lack of digital content creators out there.
I'd also like to add the generic starter pack is not generic. I think it's great. I still use some of the stuff, and I've noticed that it updates periodically, so you'll get new items in your library as well. So that's always super helpful.
Okay. Oh yeah, no, good point, good point. Good question here. Are you able to track in-store sales from specific pumps and using a loyalty program directly to the customer? Okay. Do you have experience tracking from a specific pump?
So I can tell you what I do and what data I'm able to see for my store based on the software that I use. So I can see our sales for the fuel sales, of course, by each pump and fueling station. And when it comes to my in-store sales, what I do is I run sales reports and I look in our departments, in our categories, and I can get down to item-specific purchase history, what is being sold, and I can go down to when did I sell this Rockstar? Am I selling these Rockstars starting back in August? Let's see what our Rockstar sales are. Stuff like that. So that's kind of how I do it. Jen, I know there's some reporting stuff that's in these this UX platform. Maybe you can kind of elaborate on that. I know that it's something that me and you have talked about before, and if you want to share on how you can utilize that as well.
Yeah, no, thanks for your personal experience with it. When it comes to tracking in-store sales from a specific pump, I wouldn't say that that's a functionality right now, not with our platform. There could be another tier or another provider out there that has that capability. So that's a valid question to ask if you're doing research. At this point, when you're pushing promotions to the pump through DX Promote, it's going to be one set. The same thing will be playing at every pump. Let's put it that way. A good way to deduce is exactly what Keelye had mentioned. It's kind of tracking, hey, I know that these ads play on these days. What were my sales like on these days? Or I know that these ads are playing during all the mornings. So how have my morning sales been of these products? So you can kind of deduce, but it's not going to be a pump specific. It won't be specific to which dispenser it's playing on. Carl with the Rockstar sales coming from pump number 5. Okay, you're a Rockstar fan. Me too. I'm not gonna lie about that. Trying to see here if there are any questions. Okay, how does direct sunlight affect readability? Direct sunlight does not particularly impact the readability. These screens, there are, I can't speak for every one of them, but our screens actually do have like a contrast mode on there. So you could switch to, if it's nighttime out, you could switch over into like what's called a dark mode, and that's great for readability in the evening time. It's a little bit easier on the eyes, but then there's also just like a varying contrast, but this is like a high definition screen. The pixelation is incredible. I mean, the quality of the video playing is incredible, the responsiveness of the touch. So investing in a very nice technology is going to help prevent that. We haven't had real issues with the readability when it comes to the direct sunlight. So it's a good question. And we've had units out in the field for years now. So I think if something was a little off on the readability, that would be one of the first things we'd be needing to address. But it's a very valid pump. Very valid pump. Whoa, come on, get dispensers off the frame. Can you actually sell items in addition to promotions? Not yet. We have proof of concepts out, and that is something we hope to have right around the corner. As we stated earlier, a great idea if you're evaluating technology on the forecourt is to have look into open platforms. Look into ones that can integrate third-party apps. That will be the easiest way, the fastest way to allow ordering from the pump and from the dispenser. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. That'll be right around the corner for us. Okay, well, I think that actually ran through most of the questions on here. If you have anything else, enter it in really quickly. But overall, I want to give a huge thanks to Conexxus for allowing us this opportunity, but then also Keelye, Key Oil, you've just knocked it out of the park. Touch screens are, I mean, the screens in general are just such an opportunity for C-stores, such a great opportunity for retailers. It's engaging, it drives more people in store. You proved it today with your data, right? So those numbers don't lie, and we appreciate your transparency here, and we appreciate, like your engagement with this tool. We really look forward to working with you, and we look forward to just, being a part of this conversation as technology on the forecourt is evolving, because this is the start, right? This is the cusp of some really, really cool things that are going to happen. So looking forward to what we have coming up, and thank you again, Keelye. Thank you, Conexxus, and everybody else. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm so glad to be a part of it.
Thanks everyone for all the questions. Hopefully we answered everything.
Yeah, Jack, I don't know. One question came in about PCI compliance, but I genuinely do not know that one. Do you have any awareness on that one? I know that you have a little more engagement with that aspect.
Yeah, so I think we probably need to, I see who's asking the question. It might be worth some additional follow-up later. I think it sort of depends on what component you're talking about, right? Because is it the platform? Is it the dispenser? Is the combination of? I know that from a networking perspective, some of those things are segmented out so that it's not problematic with the payment side. I don't know if that fully answers the question, but anything that comes from PCI can really be a complicated matter. It depends on how your network is set up. So I would say we could probably put something out as a follow-up to really give some guidance, because we have white papers and online guidance for the Promote as well as the Anthem platforms with regards to PCI compliance and how to best approach it. So I think that would probably be the easiest way to sort of give the high-level answer.
See, you had a lot more to offer than I did. Thank you for that, Jack. And we can reach out separately after this. That was the one that came through that kind of that did stump me. So we can reach back out directly after this. So thank you, Jack. Thank you, Keelye, and thank you, Conexxus.
Yes, so thank you, Jen. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Keeley. Not sure why my camera's not working in this moment, but thank you, everyone. If you have any more questions, go ahead and send them in now. We'll give you like a couple minutes, but if not, then we will end early and thank you everybody for attending. Make sure you come and to the next few. We have a Connect with Conexxus next week. After that, on August 4th, we have our VIP session with Raymond Huff from HJB Convenience and Gray Taylor, who's the executive director of Conexxus. So that should be a really fun and interesting session. So I don't see any other questions coming in. So I think we will end this webinar here, and thank you to all of our speakers, everybody who attended. The questions were great and your answers were great. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Enjoy the rest of your week.